People want to know how to play cigar box guitar. I've put some stuff up on YouTube and that, but it's so much better when you can teach people direct. So take people from absolutely nothing, you know, from no experience, and go through basic techniques. And if we've got a few people who sort of know what they're doing, it never harms for them to sort of go over that basic technique and try and sort of, if there's any people going wildly wrong, I can set them right. And at the moment, to my knowledge, there's nobody else in the UK doing it. In the past at Box Stock, me and Hollabelly have done players' workshops. But as I say, outside of Box Stock, there's nobody else doing it. There's a few people, well, quite a few people on the internet got CDs out and stuff on YouTube. And I've done my own little sort of tuition things, but I think there's nothing better than getting a bunch of people together. That's the other thing, getting a group of people together, and you get that group dynamic, get everybody playing along, and do things like the rhythm. It's really difficult if you're sat on your own and you've got no natural feeling for it. So try and set just a simple one chord thing going so people can get that, you know, a dead corny thing, getting in the groove. And it really works when you get a dozen, 15 people. And, you know, whether you're a beginner or a fairly well-on player, it never harms to get that feeling. We'll go around that sequence. If you hear, ignore what I'm playing. If I decide I'm going to sort of play anything over the top to make it sound fancy, but I think we'll just go through the whole sequence and just try and keep in the. It's a sort of corny phrase, but being in the groove. But it is a very important thing. So when you're playing with any other people, it's a really important part of actually getting the music together. Once you've learned to do it, yeah, you can do it on your own, but it's sometimes difficult to strike that rhythm on your own. So learning to do it with a bunch of people is a great way of doing it. I mean, the thing is, with some people are coming to the cigar box guitar after being fairly competent or very competent 6-string guitarists, and some people make the transition and figure it out for themselves. But there's other people, in some ways it's who wish there wasn't called a guitar, because it's quite a different instrument playing a 3 or 4 string guitar to a 6-string guitar, you know, with the open tunings. You can't use any E chord patterns that you used to. So for people who are perhaps quite good guitarists, they're starting from scratch just the same as anybody who's never played an instrument. And I do say sometimes those people have to unlearn what they've learned. So in some ways it's easier working with somebody who's got no experience of playing a stringed instrument before at all. So as I say, I take everybody back to the basic principles, even simply, you know, the things you might take for granted. The posture, make sure your general position's right, you're holding the guitar, you're not sort of grabbing the neck or supporting the guitar. Very, very simple basic things that even some players who are well used to it realise, oh, actually I'm sort of, yeah, I wondered why I haven't got a very good vibrato, because I'm holding the neck wrong. Or, as I say, there's no absolute correct way of doing it. All I can do is to show people the way I've been doing it, the way I've sort of developed my playing, and pass that on. And if people want to take it and use it or adapt it or ignore it, at least I can put it out there. But as I say, yeah, taking people from absolutely nothing, that's really cool, because we've just done this workshop today and we've had a few people who've never played a stringed instrument before, and you can send them out after a 2 or 3 hour session, and it's a very, very simple couple of songs. We can do a 3-chord song and send them out playing a sort of American folk song or a blues song, and they know the basic structure. I put a bit of theory into it as well. My theory is very weak. because I've not had sort of proper musical education, but what musical education I have had, it's told me that it's very useful to know a basic bit about chord structure. And you can look at a conventional guitar book and it'll show the chord boxes and where to put your fingers, but it doesn't necessarily tell you about, I've played for years and didn't really understand about how you made a chord, what made a chord, what musical intervals were involved. You just saw the name of the chord, whether it's minor or major or a seventh or a ninth. Didn't really understand what it was about. And the great thing with the Cigar box guitar is it's so simple, and you can actually demonstrate people how to count up, do through the do re mi and get to the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord. There's stuff there a lot. You can. I mean, I've talked at guitar shows to people and sort of say, well, it's tuned with a root, an octave, and a fifth, and it's easy to go to the 1 chord. And they say, oh no, that's too much for me. And they've been playing donkey's years and thinking, well, this is fundamental stuff, and it's so easy to teach it on the Cigar box guitar and get people up on the right foot. If you can try and get that rhythm go. Just stay on there just so you get that strum going. Okay, I think we've all got that. That's sounding all right. Okay, we're going to add the chord changes to it. Just as I did before. It's only the 3 chords, the one which doesn't need any fingers. The 5th fret and the 7th fret, which confusingly is the 4th and the 5th chord. I didn't get that at all at first, so don't worry. So I'm just going to get that rhythm going, and then I'm just going to shout the changes, and again we'll be just going to the 5th and the 7th fret. Okay. Especially, with people who've never done it before. And the other thing, I do the sort of making the Cigar box guitars and playing. I do a lot of that in schools where we go in and the kids make their own instrument, and at the end of the day they learn how to play it. I mean, that's doubly cool because they actually made something with their own hands, and then they go away learning to play it. And it seems like an impossible task because they've been at, I'd say for children, they'll have probably been at school music lessons, and only the really talented ones will really clock it and learn how to play the piano or a wind instrument or whatever. For the rest of the kids, quite often it's an experience to be endured. And I've gone into, you get a class of 20, 30 kids, and there'll be some who don't engage and it's not their thing. But for the most of them, they can come away at the lesson and they've actually, say they made the instrument, and they've learned how to play a simple song in just perhaps half an hour, 3/4 of an hour actual tuition bit, which is fantastic. If you spend half an hour on a conventional musical instrument, you really, with the greatest respect to music teachers, you don't get very far at all. But with a Cigar box guitar, say you can do a simple 3-chord song, and most people can manage to strum it, move the fingers into approximate the right positions, and get the bare bones of making a tune. Which, after the workshops like I've done today, I've got a little bit of intro, but after half an hour, 40 minutes, I've got all the group playing a song. You take it down to a simple level, and it's a great confidence booster at the end of the day. People think, I have learnt something in a couple of hours, and some of those people might think, I'll have another go at that. And then the people who can play a bit, I think one or two people saying, oh yeah, I never really understand about what you were doing with the right hand. I can't go too fast if I've got some absolute beginners with me, because it's just enough to get them to get a sound out of it. But then there's one or two people who say, yeah, they don't maybe get 3 hours of new ideas, but they might come away with 2 or 3 things that they understand, say what's happening with the right hand instead of just strumming, that they understand the principle, say, of alternating bass or this sort of like banjo type roll. And because it's all in open tuning, you don't need to worry then, you can concentrate on what your right hand's doing, don't need to worry too much about the left hand, and it starts coming together. They realise they've actually gone up another level, just showing them a few basic techniques. Okie doke. I'm gonna wake up in the morning, believe I'll dust my broom. I'm gonna wake up in the morning, believe I'll dust my broom. All that man you've been loving won't let 'em in your room. So you probably all heard that, all those little moves time and time again in various combinations, preceded by I woke up this morning. Well, I mean, if they come onto my, go onto my website at www.chickenbonejohn.com, there's links onto workshops that I'm doing. I've just started doing these, I've done the players workshops at odd events. But after doing the one recently, and then people keep sort of saying they may spot that I was doing this, and they said, oh, are you planning to come and do any sort of, I've had inquiries from sort of Bristol, Folkestone, Oxford. So I'm quite happy that people have travelled quite a way today to come and do this workshop, but I'm quite happy if we can get a group of people together that I'll come and visit people, as long as we just need to get a critical mass so that it's going to work in terms of it being worth my while. I don't want too many people, because I think we had today, I can't remember, 12-15 people, which is, I think, it's about an ideal group. It's a nice dynamic. If there's more than that, then I can't pay in people individual attention, and it all gets a bit lost. So if anybody's interested, if there's one in your area, because I do the build and play days. I'm doing one later on in the year in Twickenham. Twickenham Folk Club have asked me to do it, so we'll be building guitars and learning to play. But then, as I've had a few inquiries, so if people want me to go to Oxford or whatever, if we can get a few people together, then we'll go do a day for them, get a bunch of people. And I've sort of said to people, all I need is a venue. If you want people in your house, you can do it almost as a house concert thing. If you've got a bunch of friends, we'll come to your house, do a little workshop for you in the comfort of your own home, or whether it's a sort of bunch of mates, do it at the pub, youth club, schools or whatever. So I'm very keen to go out and sort of spread the word. So nobody else is doing it at the moment, to my knowledge. So there we are. Hope we can sort of spread the word a little bit wider, get more people playing the cigar box guitars.